Hi everyone. Welcome to Weekly Wed from Business School of AI by Sudha Jamthe, technology futurist here in San Jose. I am Yashaswini Vishwanath, your host for Weekly Wed, and I am from Bangalore, India, and I'm an AI researcher. I've been hosting Weekly Wed for last 2 or 3 years, and Weekly Wed is a community where all the students of Sudha, we come together to continue our learning beyond classroom. Generally, we host speakers from all over the world. We have international speakers from on AV, IoT, AI, and Gen AI. We had a couple of sessions about generative AI. We had sessions about agent AI. Uh, so before we move ahead, I want to say that this is recorded and live streamed. If you do not want to be viewed, so please do not turn on your cameras. And if you do not want your voice to be heard, please chat your question and field the question. And yes, talking about the previous topics that we had agents and different kinds of agents, multi-agents, mixture of agents, and we have a Agent AI course next month that's coming up. And today we have Sowmya Moni, who is a very special speaker. And I would like to introduce Sowmya Moni here. Sowmya Moni brings wealth of business and marketing acumen, industry expertise, proven track record of driving department and organizational success. Her deep understanding of growth function, including marketing, sales, strategy, areas such as operations, corporate social responsibility, and corporate development have benefited companies who are integrating multiple capabilities, especially with AI and digital technologies. Soumya is passionately involved in a purpose-driven ventures and can transform ideas and concepts into tangible revenue streams. She has earned several accolades, including recognition as the most influential global marketing leader from the World Marketing Congress. She holds the top thought leadership voice and top B2B marketing strategy voice badges on LinkedIn. She's a staunch advocate for gender inclusivity and diversity in leadership roles. Uh, Soumya, this is very nice to know. Soumya, she's been instrumental in founding and nurturing the social impact organization Women in Big Data in India, whose mission is to cultivate tangible opportunities for women, unlock talent potential through accessible skills, training, and act as a catalyst for advancement with thought leadership promotion and empower equity sales equally is it equally allies or equity allies of inclusive mentorship, women in big data. India's work has been recognized by Indian Achievers Forum for contribution towards nation building and social impact in 2024. She's also a mentor to many women founded startups and women leaders in tech in India. Soumya champions sustainability by implementing practices that promote resource efficiency and support the transition to a low carbon economy through the CSR leadership role with the Inchara Charitable Trust. She is currently advising companies and go to market strategies with AI offerings and is the AI and marketing member leader at Forbes Communication Council. She contributes to media publications addressing the B2B startup and growth communities, sharing her insights on strategy, leadership, marketing, mentoring, corporate governance, and corporate communications. Soumya, we are so happy to have you here. It's a privilege to host you. We are totally looking forward to learning from you. The topic for today's discussion that Soumya will be bringing to the table here is AI for marketing. We have had multiple sessions on AI. We have learned what is AI, what is not AI, and this is a very unique session where we are trying to see how AI can be applied into different fields in under the marketing umbrella. So the free floor is yours, Soumya, and yeah, I'm all
Thank
yours.
you so much, Yashaswini. I think the audience would be patient enough to, as you went through my bio. So thank you so much. And I am very excited to present this topic, which I'm very passionate about, which is marketing and data and AI together. So thank you, Weekly Wed series, for hosting me today. Let me share my screen and I will do a quick presentation. We will keep the chat going. So if you have any questions during my presentation, feel free to pop it in and I'm happy to answer them towards the end or during the session. So let me know when you're able to view my screen. So, Yashaswini and team, are you able to view my screen? Is this
Yes.
okay? Awesome. Great. So, as Yashaswini mentioned, this is a very interesting area. It's really about, you may have studied AI as a discipline or as an emerging technology, but how do you apply AI into a function, a department, as I call as marketing or industry? What does applied AI in marketing mean? So, having been a marketer for a little over 25 years, I've I think this is a very exciting time to be a marketer, in my view, where you are using data and AI to make your processes easier, better, more optimized, and without compromising or sacrificing creativity or other elements of marketing that you all may be, thinking marketing is about. So we will, demystify some of the areas. I know that the team here probably knows what AI already is, but I'll level set with that. We'll talk about the AI value proposition. What does it bring to the industry? What does it bring to marketers? And what does an AI marketing landscape look like today? How are marketers using AI and technology today or generative AI today in their day-to-day tasks or work? What are the applications that we see, and what are the results or outcomes or benefits that we as marketers are gaining from this new and emerging and evolving technology? And of course, when we talk about AI, the application of AI cannot be sort of, complete without the ethics and the responsible use of AI. And more so in the field of content, text, and image generation, which is where marketing has a very large role to play, as you all know. So even what we are streaming today is content. So, and this content has voice, it has data in form of voice, video, text, and some proprietary material. So how do we sort of make sure that there is ethical and responsible use of this content? And as marketers, what are we doing to ensure that we protect the IP of the content generator and are able to still disseminate the information that we need? So that's the crux of the presentation or the outline that I have. I'll probably walk us through each of these 5 elements over the course of next 25 to 30 minutes. And I'll keep enough time for, questions and answers. And if there is any live chat that is available, I know this is getting streamed. So if there are any questions in the live chat, please do let me know. I'm happy to answer them. So moving on, AI is the use of computer systems to simulate human mental processes, very close to how we call it as natural language processing. So it's basically interpreting and generating language for us. And the applications are immense, and we see that in day to day. I've put some examples of that here in healthcare, in finance, in transportation. And some of these, I think Yashaswini already referenced how you're using it in IoT, how you're using it in probably fraud detection, automation. But we'll talk about an agent development, but we'll talk about marketing today because that's the focus of today's presentation. And in marketing, we're really looking at campaign, content, targeting, personalization, automating some of the marketing tasks and processes as marketers we have. So as you know, AI's edifice is really about, I mean, it started with automation. How do you automate some of the routine tasks and workflows that you have? And marketing as a department also has many such tasks and routine processes. So AI started there and it continues to, provide certain benefits and value in terms of productivity. But we'll see how it's also engaging in creative discipline, which is where we associate marketing processes to be. So today, examples of AI, and this is available to us in everyday space. We engage with chatbots, whether we are, booking a hotel or in the e-commerce space, in the travel and transportation space. I mean, AI is pervasive, right? In everyday transactions. So whether we are interfacing with a chatbot or using a smart assistant or a co-pilot to help us in some of our daily tasks, in e-payments, in some of the algorithms that we are looking to develop, whether it's through Google Analytics, and I'll talk about how marketers use Google Analytics, media streaming, it's in facial recognition space, in social media monitoring. So there's so many spaces that AI is now penetrating. Now, this is, of course, some of it is in marketing, but we'll very specifically talk about what does it mean in marketing. Now, I'm going to just bring together, let me just go back. Sorry. Okay. Minimize my screen here. Okay. So if you see this is a mind map of a CMO or a chief marketing officer who has been tasked with, certain aspects of marketing workflows. So typically you have multiple processes, marketing processes and workflows. You've got targeting, personalization, some integrations, content and campaigns. A marketer typically would be involved in either creating awareness or brand awareness, as we call it, or creating demand for their offers or products, or enabling internal teams like sales or HR or other departments in the organization. So a marketer would be involved in customer acquisition, in internal workflows and tasks, in doing some digital audits, they are brand custodians, they run campaigns and contents, they enable sales. They're also involved in creating creatives, media artifacts. As you can see here, there is creative design. And they also hire talent, and they also manage the buyer. So when a marketer's job is essentially to take a product to the customer, and that is a buyer. So ultimately, the buyer's journey is being mapped. Now, here I'm talking about AI and marketing, where AI can be infused in any or more or all of these areas, whether it's in the field of targeting. They can do targeting with creating hyper-personalized campaigns and create agents who can build these campaigns and automate them for a specific target audience or a niche audience. So if you are targeting, say, doctors in a particular market, it could be North America or a particular region, and with your product, which is a med device, you could do that very easily with AI. There are several agents available for targeting and prospecting. In personalization, you can create content which is hyper personalized today for that very audience that you identify as your buyer, buying segment or your buyer persona. You could play the role of or integrating. So you may have created a platform or a marketplace where you can act as an integrator with several other tools. It could be content, it could be lead generation, it could be audience analysis. All of these agents can be built within the platform that you're looking to build. Now, that's a martech investment that a CMO would look at. If it is about content ROI, now content is obviously the asset that every marketer creates, whether it is for social media or whether it's for internal campaigns or customer campaigns. That's an asset. Now, that asset could be a blog, it could be an article, it could be a video, it could be a media asset, it could be anything. And that's all labeled as asset or content for us. And how do you sort of develop content ROI, which is return on investment on the content that is created? And there are metrics and agents around it, and AI helps us build understanding or intelligence on the content that has been developed or that needs to be developed. AI is also helping us with customer acquisition. Now, that customer acquisition is really about demand creation and increasing the qualified leads that we can bring in for the marketing campaigns that we run for the products. So how can we enable that customer acquisition through AI? So AI is helping us do that. There are many tools that are helping us sort of identify the buyer persona, identify the buying committees within the organization, create a niche audience, build an asset, as well as build out a customer base. So you can create lists, you can create email lists today and send it out using AI. There are several internal tasks and workflows that need to be automated. And a repetitive task in a marketer's life would be to create campaigns and to create campaign workflows. And that is something which AI can help us do. And several CRM tools today have templates for building out these campaigns, which the marketer can tweak for that particular audience or segment. So that workflow automation is something which AI can help us do. And we've seen results of this because many of the communications that AI sends out can be automated today. Digital audit. Now, this is really about audit and recommendations on web, social, and as you know, the influencer community or the communities that we create on social media today, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, those communities can be audited using AI. And that can help build a more niche audience and also help marketers build offers for that niche community. AI can also help in the buyer journey. So today, if you visit a website in the backend as a marketer, I would be able to see which was the page that you visited the most. I can create a heat map today and find out where the engagement was highest, where the clicks were the highest, and which page you engaged more on. And I can, based on the engagement rate, I can come out with buying preferences or some offers to you or communication that is relevant to you. And that is something which AI is helping us do, partially by giving us that data, and secondly, helping us also monetize that data by providing some very personalized content packages or campaigns directed towards the audience. It is also helping in talent hiring. So when it comes to AI, we are also looking to see how staffing and some of the training requirements can be met. Whether it's to learn about social media monitoring or content optimization, content creation, we can build talent streams using AI because we have a pre-fed AI co-pilot that we are building, which can help us narrow the target base for hiring for certain roles. Creative design is again another area where we are seeing, given that content is an asset that marketers create and want to create at scale, addressing their needs, AI is helping us create this mixed format across, media, data, voice, text, all kinds of pieces of content that we create. It's helping us create at scale and also help design some of these assets. AI is also helping us with sales enablement, which is really about building out the proposal, some of the repetitive tasks in building out proposals at scale, and these I'm talking about sales proposals that we need to send it out to our customers or prospects. AI is helping us build that. So as you can see that there is a gamut of activities that AI is infused in a marketer's or day in the life of a marketer. So a CMO's tasks are really about identifying which are the areas that can be enabled and augmented by AI for productivity, for creativity, and for scale. So I'll move on to the next screen. So I'm going to zero in on three aspects, having discussed as to what a CMO's mind map looks like. So the first one is really about targeting and personalization, because marketers run marketing campaigns, and therefore they need targeted and personalization as part of their campaigns, and how AI can help in that. The second aspect of it is I'm going to talk about certain tools which are helping with the marketing strategies in business. And the third is really about how is AI helping us optimize marketing performance and also bring in return on investments by the data that it provides us. So it's really about informed decision making that we are able to do with the streams of data, the velocity, the veracity, the variety of data that we are getting from different digital channels or offline channels that we accumulate. Now, today as a marketer, we have a conundrum of, data is humongous to drive insights from. So we need to choose our battles, and that's where this really is helping us focus on areas where AI can be infused and help us focus on core areas or core tasks which are strategic to the business. So I'll pause here for any questions that I may want to take on the chat, Yashaswini, before I move on, or do you want me to finish or complete the presentation and then take on the questions?
I have a couple of questions here. When you talk
Sure.
about personalization, that is a topic that's very close to my heart. I actually specialize in recommender systems, and um, I feel recommender systems in this context of AI marketing, right? It brings in a lot of value, like what you have told. Can you dwell
Mm.
deeper on it and say how how can we use recommender systems? What aspect of recommender systems can we use? And how can we narrow it down for marketing?
Yeah. Recommendation systems or recommendation engines have been, being used in day-to-day sort of aspects already, right? When you buy on a site, or when you are looking for certain preferences, you're seeing that already. Recommendation engines are providing you with the data based on your viewing history or based on your purchase history, and it's using a certain set of parameters to arrive at knowing who you are, what your preferences are, and then zeroing in on what perhaps you may like to see based on what it offers. Now, what's important to recognize is while there are certain preset parameters with which recommendation systems are working based on the demographic as well as the interaction with the systems that you have, and looking at some historical data, what I'm finding very interesting from a marketer standpoint is that there is a certain sense of intelligence that the underlying GPT is providing us, which is something called as intent data, which is like when I am actually looking at, say, a B2B marketer's journey, right, where you have multiple people making a decision in buying a software. It's not just a single person who's buying a software. So you have a purchasing committee, in a buying committee, you have a procurement team, you have an IT team, you have a marketing team, you have a salesperson. So it's looking at a composite of multiple people who have certain preferences, who have certain decision parameters. And those decision parameters are being captured by intent tools today. So while I may have historical data, intent data is being put together. So if I have an intent, then it's capturing that intent and scoring that intent and recommending that intent to me that, hey, X person in this company is looking to buy Y. Since you're offering something close to Y, you are probably associating with this person better, or you may have better success with this person if you connect with him or her now with this offer. This particular information or insight I am able to get from first party data that I currently have, second with certain set parameters. Second, I'm able to infuse that with intent data, and that recommendation is helping me become more, how do I say, accurate with my targeting and positioning today. So hopefully that gave you some context on how recommendation systems are working for me as a marketer.
Yeah, that was very valuable. As a follow-up question, when you talked about intent, the first thing that came to my mind was conversational interfaces or
Hmm.
chatbots, where we have intent in that context where we say, what is it that the user is actually trying to tell?
Hmm.
So, linking that, the question would be, uh, how do you see a conversational chatbot contributing to a CMO's day?
So, a conversational chatbot has been extremely useful for me to eliminate some of the redundancies in the workflows that I have today. So, something which is, I'll talk about one chatbot that we developed, which is on our website, where it is helping the customer or a prospect coming and visiting our website to really answer some of the routine questions. Hey, who you are, what is it that you offer, why should I trust you? Some of those routine questions are answered. But what the conversational AI now is helping me do is beyond this, once I'm able to capture that, hey, some of the pre-qualification is already done with the conversational chatbot. What is helping me do now is to capture the intent with something which I've heard recently with iterative prompting. So what iterative prompting is doing is helping me make the chatbot more intelligent with more context. So I am providing more context and training the chatbot with my responses and providing more information or insight so that it learns and provides me with more interesting data, which I can use for implementing or increasing my efficiency on a day-to-day basis. So I think conversational chatbots have helped me in, as a CMO or as someone who is leading a marketing organization or consulting a marketing organization, has helped me tremendously in removing some of the redundancies with respect to repeated tasks or repeated questions, as I call them, as frequently asked questions. And second is to be able to build a more intelligent database or with the use of iterative prompting. So I'm training the engine to help me answer and create what I call as a likable audience for me to be able to sell something as a marketer.
I had one question for you. No,
Yes.
this content is very, very interesting. Um, one,
Soumya, would you like to close
can,
the
can you hear me?
PPT so that we can see you?
Could
Yeah.
you ask her a question again?
Yeah. So the question I have is, people are not, there's many, many mom and pop stores, and people are
Mm-hmm.
not comfortable using, chatbot yet.
Yes.
Now, how, let's say a hair salon, or let's say a travel agent, or let's say, can you help me understand how they would go ahead and leverage or create a UI or an application based on all of the things that are out there in the world. For bigger companies, they can make a big investment in chatbot and stuff like that. But for the mom and pop stores, right? Can you tell me how they could leverage some of the current technologies and capabilities that are out there?
So, very interesting question. So, I think based on the use case, it really depends on the audience again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Would you like to
My name is
introduce
Suresh.
yourself?
Yeah, my name
Suresh.
is Suresh.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Suresh. Suresh, thanks for the
Um,
question. Suresh, it really, yes, go ahead, Yashaswini.
Would it be possible to just close the PPT so that we can see you?
Yeah, absolutely. Are you not able to see me?
So,
Okay.
yeah, now I can.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
great. So, Suresh, thanks for the question. I think I started this presentation with really talking about knowing your target audience. So, clearly, there is no one size fits all. It really depends on who your target audience is, and if your target audience has a certain amount of digital maturity, to be able to handle a chatbot on, say, a WhatsApp or engage in a WhatsApp conversation, is able to sort of pay online or has certain amount of digital fluency, then I think designing a chatbot or a smart assistant for them is not going to be a challenge. So it really depends on the audience, and therefore, what kind of AI enabled assistant we can build for them would help, regardless of whether it's a mom and pop store or anything. I'll tell you something very recently happened. I booked a ticket with a travel agent. It's not a very big travel agent. He That team had actually set up. Obviously you can book online, but once the ticket confirmation came through, they created a very nice chat interface on WhatsApp. And that chat interface, basically what it does is, it asks you questions on whether, how was my experience booking the ticket, and what are the next steps that I need to take. So it basically has a Boolean yes, no kind of workflow. And that workflow was very simple for me to use, and for my mother, who's in 70s, was also able to use it. So it really, the UI and the interface is really dependent on the target audience, as well as who you are addressing and what their digital maturity is. So I think that would be my response at this point in time for your question. Hopefully that helped you in some way.
Um, One thing is chat as an interface is not very uh, like, for instance, if a marketing person, they are very familiar with the UI interface where
Hmm.
it says yes, no, um,
Yeah.
cancel the order, or create a new order, kind of a thing. But in a
Hmm.
chat interface where there is going to be enormous number of intents, for instance, having a few buttons for a yes no kind of a thing may not work, right? So
Hmm.
if I were to give an application which is not a chat application,
Hmm.
right, I'm thinking, how could somebody create an application that mimics the chat in the back end, but still, the user or the CMO, who's like a marketing person who wants to just interface with that and get the answers for creating content and stuff like that. I don't know if I'm making sense with my question, but I'm talking about not just a chat application, but more general Windows-like looking application uh, that takes in, non-standard buttons.
Yeah. So I think it all, again, this is
Mm,
something which we need to, it all depends on
mm,
the audience, to be honest. I mean, what
mm.
may seem as interface buttons for me may be different for the user that you are targeting. So I'm
Mm.
not even talking about as me as a marketer. I'm talking about me as a consumer. And when I was
Right.
booking as a ticket, I was not even looking at that interface. I had no exposure to the interface. So I'm just talking about the experience of getting certain things done and therefore becoming more productive as an end user. So I'm not even talking about somebody who has actually built that application and sent it. I'm talking about someone who is using it and therefore feeling comfortable because of the fact that the assistant is enabling a certain task. I'll also tell you about, say, for instance, if you buy a insurance policy, for instance, I'm talking about a policy taker who has actually got, or a policy holder who has taken up a policy on a chat application. And that application has been designed in such a way that it can help anybody and everybody who is willing to, invest their time in buying a policy. It's just that it's not happening online. It's happening on the phone through an interface. It's a mobile interface, and it's smartly enabled in a way that if you make any mistakes, it sort of guides you, and it learns from you, and it's helping you. So I think it all depends again on the digital maturity as well as the intent, as I mentioned in my in my presentation also earlier, that it all depends on the intent as well as the digital maturity of the audience to be able to consume and apply this AI enabled assistant in day-to-day tasks.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's clear that the space is evolving rapidly, and it's very exciting to know all the
Yes.
things that are happening here.
Thank you. Thank you, Suresh, for the question. Are there any other questions, Yashaswini, or should we move on?
Yeah, we will go ahead. Um, I would like to note, so we have personalization, search, and recommendation, and we discussed about recommendation here. Um, can you tell me about what models or how these models can be fine-tuned for marketing? And is there some framework that is there, or is there anything that is out there which we can use to build these components of a CMO? We saw a lot of things that a CMO does. Now, is there some kind of an automation that or intelligence that we can bring in by making this being able to be done by anybody?
Yeah, so good question. I think from a algorithm standpoint, I think the standard algorithms like BERT or GPT-3 are basically the underlying platform. Now, what a marketer would typically need is an AI wrapper on top of it to help in content generation. I mentioned about content audit, right? I mentioned about how you can personalize the content for your audience through campaigns. So this is where the marketer would probably be spending about 70 to 80% of their time today. So either they are creating content for a campaign, or they are creating content for the internal audience, or they are managing certain events, or even assets, right, that they are looking to develop. So in a marketer's life, uh, content is the fuel with which they run with. And therefore, anything and everything that can automate, generate for them is making the lives of the marketer easier and better. So for me, I think as a marketer, I have worked on about 50, 60 tools over the last, as I call them, as AI wrappers, for both, whether it's video generation, whether it is text generation, whether it is copy for an email that I need to send out to a customer, for lead generation, or for even just doing assessment like social media monitoring. There are many tools that are available today which are sitting on top of these GPTs, and they are helping us. And each of these models are obviously evolving over time because they are looking at billion parameters to come out with something which is meaningful. So for me, I think that is the underlying algorithm that is working for us, which is helping us generate content at scale. Now, there are certain dimensions of content that we need to be aware of, that obviously hallucination and some of the biases in content uh, that needs to be obviously complemented with human oversight and intuition, because marketing, for all of you, it's really a creative process. You are enabling with tech so that you can create or ideate with scale, but really you cannot substitute or replace the human oversight and intuition. So that's something which I believe algorithms are still developing. I'm still figuring out as to how image generation can happen. I know there are several design tools that are getting trained today and infused with AI. But these are spaces which marketers are really looking for, and they are constantly, and this space is evolving. So you can see that marketers are getting benefited from the productive use of these algorithms today in the content generation and ideation space.
Soumya, I will straightly hit to the point. We all know about hallucinations, and we know that the content is generated by AI. It will not be good with the factual information. And how do you tackle this? Is it that you take the content generated and then have a human in loop, review it, and then um, give it as a feedback? Is there some way that you do that?
Yeah, so today, every content piece that we build, or I recommend that marketers look at, definitely we are looking at reviews. And those reviews are done for several things. One is factual verification, accuracy. Factual correctness or accuracy is the same thing, but we're also looking at whether there are some cultural nuances when we are generating content. We need to be aware of those. Algorithmic biases can seep in into many of the content pieces that we can create. So I think those biases have to be taken care of, and that can predominantly be done only by somebody um, who is reviewing it manually. So any piece that goes out or published externally, there are internal checks and balances within the marketing content team. Even when we are running any campaigns internally as well, we make sure that those internal checks and balances are done. There's a checklist for AI and there is a checklist for human generated content. We compare that and see where it stands so that we can remove some of these biases that this content is that content that is being generated through AI. We can sort of make sure that that is massaged well before it is sent out to the world. So that's something which we as a marketing team do. And I encourage all marketers to do that. And that's where the ethical and responsible use of AI comes into play.
When you talk about AI ethics and ethical AI in the context of marketing, um, how is it specific to that? Like we know the umbrella term AI ethics. We know how it affects different industries, but I would like to know how it affects marketing in particular.
So
What do we call it as responsible AI
So
for AI?
responsible AI is really about content which is, we do plagiarization checks, okay? So which really means is that the content which is an original piece or an idea that's been created by somebody, we make sure that that content is original, that content is not plagiarized. And it's very easy to do that because, you know, that obviously GPT is trained to look at certain pieces of content and we don't provide the references or we don't factually check for the veracity of that content. We want to make sure that that is something which we are mindful and aware of when we are creating content. When we are editing content, we want to make sure that the piece is in the voice of the marketer and not somebody else's voice, and is addressing a specific need, which is not borrowed. It can be inspired, but not borrowed. So, and I know there's a thin line of, borrow versus inspire, but we want to make sure that that thin line is still maintained, and that can only be done through manual or human oversight. So that, according to me, is an ethical and responsible use of AI in marketing. And I mean this more because 70 to 80% of a marketer's workload is really about creating, editing, publishing, promoting content. And that is why it is on the onus of the marketer to make sure that all these processes, we don't cut short on anything. We don't sacrifice or compromise on the originality of the content. And therefore, we have several tools to be able to actually help us do that as well. And we try our best to make sure that it's as original as it sounds, and as original in its in its intent as well. So that's how we ensure that there is ethical and responsible use of AI in marketing.
Soumya, we saw about the ethics, and if we were to put a futuristic hat, what do you think the future of AI for marketing will be?
Future of AI for marketing is really about creativity at scale. I mean, I spoke about content and production at scale, but here I'm really looking at how we can sort of get an idea platform for marketers to creatively look at problem solving. And I'll explain this with a concept of design thinking, right? So when we are iterating on a problem, we as marketers, we sort of look at creative ways of solving a problem. We can probably prompt, create sufficient number of prompts for problem solving once we've identified the creative use. But here, the future marketer is really looking at creative ideas itself. So the creative idea generation itself, which is obviously proprietary to humans, is something which I'm expecting AI to learn more on. So and as it learns from humans more, it's able to also understand where to unlock that creativity and where to use that creativity at scale. So for me, that would be really another level. Today, a lot of the production tasks are getting automated by AI. If I want to write an email addressing a certain audience, there are certain set of tasks that need to be completed, and that I can put as a prompt and get that mailer. But the idea for that mailer and to associate a creative angle to it is something which is another level altogether. So that creative design thinking and at scale is what I'm expecting probably a future marketer to benefit from AI.
So we saw about what AI was there, and what AI is now, and what AI can be in the future. We saw the complete spectrum of AI for marketing, how it is niche and personalization for
Yes,
personalizing. We are
yes,
personalizing AI for marketing, which
yes,
thinks about personalization. And the CMO mind map was a very good one. Would it
yes.
be possible to pull it up again and give a brief summary of 2 minutes about it, which we will have it as a key takeaway today?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me just share my screen. And are you able to view my screen or?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let me just share. Yeah. So I think I will go back to the CMO mind map.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. We are a great
yeah.
fan of.
So here I've actually put some sort of thoughts as well as to where AI agents can play. I know that the world of marketing is still embracing AI, and there are many areas that are still white spaces, by the way, especially in the brand voice packaging agent, or whether it's to do with digital audit. I think these are some areas that are still evolving. We have some variants of that available today, which are partially solving some of the marketing process automation and intelligence problems today. But as we move forward, the future CMO, I'm thinking that the future CMO's mind map, or rather the real world, would look something like this, where he or she would be able to use AI in segmentation, in targeting, in positioning, all the three areas where marketers work the most at when they are looking at developing marketing campaigns, executing these marketing campaigns for their audiences. So whether it's in the field of targeting, personalization, integrations, which is really sitting on top of your MarTech stack, what are the different agents and wrappers you can build which can talk to each other from demand standpoint, from customer standpoint, from content standpoint, from campaign standpoint? How are the different actors talking to each other to enable an integrated ecosystem for marketing is what this mind map is really talking about. And there are many players who will evolve. This is an ecosystem of players who are building these integrations, which can integrate with the CRM systems within the organization, which the CMOs and the growth office uses today. Content has different dimensions. Then customer acquisition has different dimensions. So I spoke about this in detail earlier, but really the intelligence and the scale part of it is will truly, a CMO will, or a marketer will truly see the benefits of this once AI is infused in any more or all of these areas.
Yeah. Sowmya, many thanks for coming here to Weekly Vet and sharing all the learnings that you gave us today. And the key takeaway that we have is the CMO mind map, and we will remember and uh, it was a very good session that we had today, and the feedback has been amazing. Everybody has been telling in the chat. Uh, Thank you, and um, thanks everybody for joining. Uh, so this is Weekly Ved. Weekly Ved happens every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and I'm your host Yashaswini Vishwanath. Um, Also, I would like to tell about um, the Agent AI course that we are having next month. Uh, and This is a very unique course in that we are trying to bring in many new form of elements and trying to teach Agent AI. Uh, um, I would like you to um, promote that in your circles about Agent AI. Um, and Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for everyone for joining today. And thank you, Yashaswini, for inviting me to the Weekly Wed series. And I'm happy to be part of this. Hopefully, I'll get to join some of your sessions and the Agent AI course as well.
Yes, the link is in the bio for everyone interested.
Can I just
Thank
do
you.
Bio, chat, same thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this talk. This was so fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll just share the MailChimp and do a screen share. Would it be okay, Sowmya? Just 2 minutes.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Yes, this is the MailChimp that we have.
Okay.
Anybody who is interested, They can just put their first name and they can put their email address and subscribe here. And we will send them details as and when the course comes up. So we are also trying to do something called as 21 days of autonomous agent AI, and
Hmm.
that is on LinkedIn. It's leading up to this course. So that's like breadcrumbs leading to this. And yeah, this will be wonderful to be shared with your community also. Uh, and yeah, that's a wrap for today. I will stop the share.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
everybody.
much.
Thank you,
Thank
Sowmya,
you.
for the lessons. And thank you, everybody, for coming. And catch you in the next weekly bed. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.